It's like thirst trap kind of content.
We love a thirst trap at Violet.
Right?
You know?
Like, this is I'm trying to explain it to people.
We embrace it.
Yeah.
Look, we're 18 and over. We can be a little edgy and risque, so why not?
Yeah, like, because what I just looked at, I mean, you look hot. Your AI
My AI is definitely like...
Yeah, I mean, your AI...
I mean, I see other people's AIs. I'm just like, wow, it's so good. But it's not that it doesn't look like them.
Yeah.
It's just this kind of like a bit more polished, like, oh, what I look like when I, do my hair and wear makeup.
For me, it was like before kids, before having a child. I'm Lori Siegel, and you're listening to Mostly Human, a tech podcast through a human lens. Amy, I'm so happy to have you here. And like, full disclosure, we are friends.
Yes.
And how we became friends is we met at, it was in Lisbon, right? At a tech conference. Was it?
Actually, I think it might have been in London.
Yes. I feel like you are my person at tech conferences.
Events,
where I always need a safe space and someone in a corner who can like be like a breath of fresh air with all the tech bros. And honestly, that is you. And I feel like it kind of says something about you.
That's very sweet. I appreciate that. I feel the same way, where you just have this kind of like, I feel like we just met and just immediately clicked as friends. And I mean, your background is also fascinating. Yeah. So we just had a lot to chat about when it came to just the tech world in general.
Well, you go into these tech circles, and oftentimes, not to be cliche, it's just like all dudes talking about dude things and not really the human way into things. And we initially always just had interesting conversations about the state of technology, about all the things kind of happening, and it always just felt a little bit different. So I'm glad to have you here, especially we've been doing so much dark stuff on artificial intelligence and what happens when you lose consent online and how AI can be misused. And so to think about how it can actually be used to benefit and how we can have more ownership seems like you're like our perfect guest for this.
Thank you.
So, okay. So you have such an interesting background, which we're going to get into, but I want to just start to talk by talking about Violet. This is your new venture. I know you're kind of, the tagline for it is it's like the HBO of social media. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so Violet I co-founded with my business partner, Kaylee Magder. We've been working on it, honestly, since end of 24, 2025. It was our full-time venture when we raised money, did the whole thing, and then we just launched in April of this year. And Violet's an 18 and over platform where anyone can monetize content, build a community. We really took the best parts of social media and creator platforms and put them into one new experience. So, I grew up, to date myself a little bit, in like the MySpace era, where social media was much more social and fun, and as did my business partner. And as we were kind of like ideating, like, oh, should we do something in this space? It really came down to our own frustrations with, how the current state of social media is, meaning there's a lot of doom scrolling. There's a lot of seeing content that, minors shouldn't see, or even we shouldn't see, that, we don't know what's going to always be shown to us. And, we wanted something fun. We wanted to like see content from people we care about. We wanted to, have that, surprise and delight of discovery back into social media. We're 18 and over, so we do allow for topless content. So that's where we've been dubbed, the HBO of social media. But there's nothing fully nude. There's nothing explicit. We take the stance that social media, especially when monetization's involved, should be for adults.
I love that you just mentioned MySpace, and I'm also, I guess, going to date myself because I loved MySpace. I was like the girl that like wrote poems on MySpace, and of course, like emo Lori. Like it was such a cool community, but it's actually MySpace predated Facebook and all. It just like, it was really kind of how we grew up with social media. It felt really different. when I first got into social media, it just felt like this was really interesting and it was cool and it brought you closer with your friends and it felt like a little bit punk rock. It just felt like a different time. And that was like, God, I feel so old saying this, but this was like 15, almost like 20 years ago.
It's like early 2000s. Yeah. Things were so different than online. You had these platforms just emerging before what they've evolved into now, which no one at the time would have ever guessed.
Yeah. Were you growing up, what was your like gateway into tech? Was it MySpace? Like you're now like a big you're like a tech CEO now. So growing up, was there something that was like your gateway? I guess mine was like a Tamagotchi. Does that count?
I was gonna say Nintendo 64.
Okay.
Or maybe Super Nintendo. Really date myself. Like
wow,
I just grew up on different video games. A Game Boy. I had an original Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something about new technology that I've always just naturally gravitated towards.
Yeah. Same. I remember in college, it was like I was one of the first to get an iPhone, and people were like, "That's so weird. What is that?" I mean, God, again, I just feel like I'm like an old person talking to someone at this moment. But there's something about kind of new technology and something about you that I've always thought was really interesting. And I know this as your friend, but also as I was looking through your history and really understanding it, is like you are an edge person too. Like you like the edges before they become the center. Before Violet, you were the CEO of OnlyFans, so adult content. This kind of felt like it was a bit on the edges. Before that, it was cannabis. You were opening up a cannabis cafe in Los Angeles. Things that might be hard to explain to mom and dad. What was it? What is it about the edges that interest you?
Well, you say edge, I say forefront. Being on the forefront of what's new, what's interesting. I kind of naturally gravitate towards what's up and coming, what might be considered a little bit taboo before it hits much more of mainstream culture. Not sure where that comes from in terms of if it's probably just a natural interest, curiosity. Professionally, I've worked in a range of industries from fashion, CPG, tech, and the common thread throughout everything is really just like, oh, what's new, what's up and coming. I think there's something very exciting about that. And also having that kind of eye or insight into what could that potentially be. And while it's controversial to others, fast forward a few years, it's much more mainstream and loses a bit of that stigma to it.
Yeah. I mean, and so going back, you were born in Mumbai, you were raised in Virginia, an only child?
I am an only child.
Only child. Your parents are immigrants. I'm curious, did their journey impact your career aspirations at all?
So actually, I don't think I've talked about this publicly, but I'm adopted from India.
Wow.
My father's Indian and my mom's American, but just grown up, I have this obviously very pronounced, I like to say LA accent. But, I think having parents from a different background and also, most places that I've lived, like there's not a ton of diversity. So I think that starts to shape your outlook on how you see things. And now even in my adult life, I find like, oh, I have so many more South Asian friends than I ever did growing up because there just weren't, various different types of people around.
Yeah. And I mean, especially, it's so funny because I think so many journalists, when you're like looking at this, call your background as a tech CEO non-traditional because it seems as though like so many of the people we see in these roles in technology feel a little bit similar or have similar backgrounds. But I do find it's really interesting when you meet people who grew up in places where they might not have felt like they always fit or it felt like there was something that was always the same. I remember growing up the only Jewish girl at a very Christian conservative Southern school where there was a lack of diversity. My whole career has been spent saying, okay, how do we get more people involved, or that perspective is so much more interesting, or that it feels like it's like a frustration that actually ended up being a fuel to some degree for you.
I completely agree. I mean, I remember when I was turning 13 and my birthday party was just a pool party, and I lived in a very predominantly Jewish area and went to nothing but bar and bat mitzvahs every weekend. I was like, well, my birthday really sucks.
That's really funny. Well, I grew up where no one had gone to a bar bat mitzvah. I was the only bat mitzvah they came to. They had no idea what it was. So that's really interesting. Okay, and so you end up, you tell me, let's start with a cannabis cafe. Okay. So before joining OnlyFans, you helped launch one of Los Angeles' first cannabis cafes. I mean, this is post legalization, but I'm sure at the time this industry was heavily regulated. This probably wasn't the easiest of things. What did you learn from that experience? How'd you get into that?
So I got into it working with a brand in the sector, and they were opening a establishment in West Hollywood, which was very friendly to cannabis overall. And this was like 2018, 2019 at the time. So, there were dispensaries all over LA the way that you see liquor stores, a lot of places in the US. So, there were tons of these kind of like cool brands popping up. And also, to give context, my background, I worked with Red Bull before being in cannabis. So it's kind of, again, like a little edgy, being on the forefront. And with that business, there's a lot of regulation. You must be 21 to consume. Also, a lot of misconceptions.
Like what?
Where, people think like, oh, this is, is going to cause to have a lot of like bad actors around, or, there's, a certain reputation with, we all grew up with movies about the stoner in high school, but really there's tons of people whether it's a medicinal value, recreation, provide some sort of, just like anxiety relief. Like people are consuming it all the time. Like we've all been to concerts. Like it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And I imagine opening this cafe, what did you learn? What did you learn about the industry? What did you learn about people?
We're all really similar.
In what sense?
I will say, there was something special about that place. It's no longer around. It shut down during COVID. Can't have in-person establishments, even though cannabis was an essential business at the time. But there is something special where you're seeing, especially in West Hollywood, a lot of people know it, for being, such a leader in the gay culture and community. But there's also a lot of elderly people there, and they didn't have anywhere to go. So you'd have these locals come over and just, want to sit, have a coffee and a joint. But then they'd be sitting next to like a rapper and like...
That's awesome.
And iced out chains. But it's just, there's something about this like really unique diversity that you don't see everywhere. And I was leading marketing for the business at the time, and it was covered on the Family Friendly Today Show, which could be considered taboo, but really you're just looking at something like, anyone that's older, they probably were teenagers in the 70s, so it was everywhere. So there's something about this, the education of how this product is beneficial for a range of people. And just, again, breaking down that misconception of, like, who's actually using this. And, when something's regulated, there's, good ways it can be used.
I did see some funny little tidbit about how, didn't you guys have to like train the waiters to help manage any spiraling customers or something?
Yes.
That's funny.
There's a few tricks if someone gets too high. Although what's funny is people think that I'm like, just reputationally, as someone who's been in Vice Industries, this like party girl. Yeah. So like they're like, oh, like you probably smoke, you do all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm the most boring person.
I don't believe that. I feel like you're interesting. Let's talk about OnlyFans. You joined in 2020 as the head of marketing. What a year to join OnlyFans, right?
Yes. So I joined as CMO of the business. I was based in Los Angeles at the time, entered the company through a mutual friend of the owner, and, had this real vision of how it's a disruptor in entertainment, owning your IP, the creator economy, brought in a lot of vernacular that wasn't being used at the time, also brought in a lot of relationships and new ideas to help, drive the business in a direction that they weren't necessarily thinking of at that time.
And describe what OnlyFans was at the time, kind of before you kind of got in, and then how that evolved.
So like everyone, we kind of were seeing it on social media. You saw some girls in bikinis sharing like, oh, follow me here, subscribe to me here. And I was just like everyone else, like, what is this? I'm, as someone who likes to be on the edge or the forefront, I'm naturally just curious about a new platform. So I'm immediately intrigued, and it had obviously had the reputation and continues to do so for spicy content. But I really saw it as being like, oh, this is a true disruptor in like creator economy, influencer, and how people can actually own their IP.
Yeah, you said in one interview, 2020 was the year the influencer became the creator. Talk to me about that.
So that's where, look, we all have phones. We're all creators. We're all entrepreneurs. Everyone's a multi-hyphenate. But at that point, it's like influencers were at home. Everyone was at home. You're just consuming content, whether it was on, Twitch, YouTube, OnlyFans, any social platform. Everyone's just hungry for content, hungry for consumption. So that's where there is this uptick in anyone who is already creating content. They went double, triple time because they just saw like such engagement happening.
Yeah. It's almost like COVID was just this accelerator for so many things. It was a complete shift in the way we interacted with each other and the way we worked and all of these things. And it did do something fundamentally to the creator world that has evolved since then, but completely changed the game. So it's 2021 now, and you become CEO. The CEO stepped down, some controversy. The platform had said it would ban explicit content, then it backtracked. And Tim stepped down, you stepped up. What was going through your mind when you got the call that you would be CEO?
It's nice to be, and I'm, forever grateful for being just acknowledged for the work that I had done and continued to like support for the business. Yeah. And that's kind of that instance where it's like, oh, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was the one chiming in with, oh, let's work with this. Let's have this partnership. Let's do this. Or, there's different emails and scenarios where I'm stepping in and sharing, opinions, ideas on what to do. And also coming into the business so passionately of like, oh, this is, a true disruptor is what led to, taking the reins when Tim stepped down. And then that's when I really doubled down on platform safety, transparency, a lot of those kind of core trust and safety fundamentals, which, when we get into Violet, that's really what's impacted a lot of the foundations of the platform I co-founded.
Was there a learning curve at all?
Definitely, in a sense that a lot of people don't know this, but OnlyFans is a UK domiciled business. So, there's a lot of public affairs learnings. We didn't grow up learning about the UK government in the US. You have the House of Commons, House of Lords, I remember looking at a list and I was like, these sound like Harry Potter characters. Like, I don't know.
What do you mean? Wait, explain that.
Because they're just, everyone goes by a much more formal title. Yeah. Things are quite traditional there. And the biggest learning is seeing, how the UK, especially at the time, was much more on the forefront of online safety, especially the age verification. And now look at the rest of the world. It's caught on in terms of these conversations around like, oh, what are minors being exposed to? Like, how can we prevent that? Should social media be for anyone under 16 or over 16? So
it's really interesting because the UK has been ahead, especially with deepfake abuse and so many of these issues surrounding online safety. And it is interesting because during your time there, I saw this thread emerge. Like, you wanted OnlyFans to be known for more than just adult content. This is like part of now what you're doing at Violet, which we're going to get into. Why do you think OnlyFans didn't really make that leap? Like, what were you frustrated? Like, what was that like? And with some of these priorities, and how have you kind of like taken that into Violet?
I feel like it's still, known for a range of creators. Yeah. You're kind of always seeing different news articles of like, oh, this person's on OnlyFans, this person's doing that. So it's always been known for it, but because it does allow for, content on the spicier side, it will, have a bit of that reputation, which I think is good. That's what gave it that kind of cool factor and continues to, keep it relevant in the media. And then looking at Violet, that started as really our own frustrations with social media and the doom scrolling, the not seeing content from your friends, but also we all have friends that want to monetize. They don't have a following. They don't know how. They don't know where to start. And it's really quite intimidating, looking at these other platforms. They don't know, oh, how do I set up a profile? How do I set up a page? And that's where it kind of clicked. We're like, oh, wait, we can take the best of social media, the best of a creator platform in terms of the monetization tools and put them into one new experience.
Yeah.
And that's where we really see Violet, as its own lane in the market. There's nothing sitting between creator platforms and social media for adults. So we really categorize it as adult social media.
Yeah, it's like, and so you left OnlyFans in 2023. Before we leave OnlyFans, can you just like take me into the room? What was like the craziest call or experience you had as the CEO of OnlyFans?
I mean, there's a lot of funny conversations, and this even happens now around like, okay, what's getting moderated for content? For example, Halloween costumes, so you can't have blood, but if it's in a costume setting, like, oh, it's like learning about different context for things. And then really, and I feel like you'll relate to this, it's just and this happens to this day still, where people can't believe like, oh, that's your job, or you worked at that company. It's like, well, yes, I did. Or, there's many times, I'll get on calls and people aren't expecting, an executive to look the way that I do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Many times people think that which is a compliment, significantly younger than I am.
Wow.
And I will have to voluntarily give up my age or say I'm a lot older than I look.
Oh, that's so interesting. Just like even like the misconception of like you get on a call and someone doesn't realize the OnlyFans CEO could be like,
they think like, who is this kid? Are you the assistant? Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you decide to leave. It's 2023. What made you decide to leave? Was it the opportunity for something new? Was it time to move on? What was it?
Kind of a combination where, I felt like it was time to move on. I had done so many like amazing things there, accomplished a ton of goals, growth, experience. I joke it's like an MBA on steroids.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, how can I take this experience and do something on my own? So that's when I left. I launched an advisory Hoxton with my co-founder, business partner, Kaylee, and we're both very entrepreneurial. So in the back of our minds, while we're working with a range of clients, we had like fintech, luxury, CPG, like, okay, well, we want to start a company. Our running joke was that every shady character that you can imagine who had their idea for the next like OF would reach out to us.
And OF being OnlyFans.
Yeah. And then we always shun them away, especially Kaylee. But it happened so much. And then it was kind of like, I was always like, no, I'm not going to go back into that sector. But it was really just seeing like, oh, no one's talking to this entire white space of potential users, of people who want to monetize, don't know how. And then just look at the frustrations like I hear from not just creators, but our friends or, other influencers, talent, where they're like, they're frustrated with the current state of social media. They've plateaued on growth. Their content's not seen. They're not being seen. So we kind of felt like, okay, maybe there's something here.
Well, and there's also just like this really interesting moment happening. Like after ChatGPT launches 2022, AI is nothing new, but now it's mainstream to some degree.
It happens so fast.
It happens so quickly. And all of a sudden there are all these conversations about consent online. I mean, I know for me, it's really near and dear, the rise of sexually explicit deepfakes. A lot of these women in public, some more public than others, who had their likeness taken, because now we're in this age where our most intimate features, our voice, our face, our bodies can be mimicked with AI. And so now we're entering this era where consent online really matters. And if someone wanted to create AI Lori to do anything, they could. And so I think it's really interesting to think about, well, you combine that moment with a lot of the stuff and the frustration from creators, and also what could a social media platform look like if it was built with folks who have experience in the creator world, but who are also women. And I think that kind of like combination and those ingredients are kind of at the core of Violet. It almost feels a little bit like an offshoot of OnlyFans, but very different in some capacities. You've launched just a couple months ago, so what have you seen so far?
So we're still very new, but we have about 10,000 users on the platform already. We're continuing to grow daily, adding upwards of 500 to 1,000 new users.
Wow.
to us, and anyone can join violetworld.com, but you jump on, you're able to, make a profile, you're able to leverage AI tools. We have AI chat, image generation, we have vibe matching. So if you're a fan, you want to find a creator to follow, you can type in, their aesthetic, an aesthetic preference. You can type in hobbies, interests. Like there's this discovery feature that's just not available elsewhere. So that's something we're really excited about. And also everyone on the platform is a human because you go through an onboarding process where, there's age verification, you're setting up a profile. We actually require everyone to have a profile image. We found that it makes just a much more enjoyable engagement experience when it's not just that like icon.
Yeah.
We really, while we have AI tools, we do value and prioritize human connection and experiences. It's fully integrated as a space where anyone can build a community, connect with their kind of like creators they might know, they want to follow. They can, have a place online to discover, have that sense of discovery back. It's just not, it hasn't been around for a long time.
So you're months in. What are you seeing? Like, what are interesting creators doing? Like, how are they interacting with it? What are people monetizing? How's it working?
So you're seeing a range of content. Also, anyone can share content on Violet. We want people to feel like they can express themselves.
Yeah.
The only difference between kind of fans or users of the platform and creators is that creators set up subscription tiers, meaning they can monetize their content through premium VIP subscriptions, through pay-per-view content, custom content that they're able to upsell to their followers.
Let's talk about the AI integration. What is Violet doing with AI that's unique? What are the decisions made to get there? What will you do? What won't you do?
So for AI, we want creators to have full control over their digital twin, meaning that they upload 8 to 12 images of themselves to be able to train it. They can create their own prompts. We have pre-selects if they're like not sure what they want to write. And it's really streamlined the image creation process. They own all of the AI images that are generated. So after they generate an image, if they like it, they can post it to their Violet profile. They could post it to their, VIP or premium tier and upsell it, or they can download it. And then it will be watermarked with Violet AI too. And that gives them like really a sense of control over their likeness, their IP. We also have AI chat on Violet. So that's where you're actually chatting with Violet AI. It's getting to know you, your tone of voice. It'll ask you questions. Where are you from? What hobbies are you into? Do you have any pets? Like it truly does get to know you. Like I keep my AI chat turned on and I'll find people will chat with it.
Wow.
And I'm like, but of course, because we're all about transparency, I can then go back and see like, okay, what is AI Amy even saying to people?
And the idea is that you could monetize AI. You have ownership over your AI likeness. And this is a social network and a place where you could kind of put it to work if you wanted to some degree, right?
Exactly. That's where, you just can toggle to turn on your AI so then it can chat for you. If you're at work, you have other things going on, but then your fans get that sense of like, oh, like Lori's, recording a podcast, but I can chat with her AI.
Right.
Or like as a creator, it's so much work to produce a full shoot, make content. And this allows you to like, I want to, what if someone's like, I want to see what you look like in a purple wig or in a blue shirt.
Wow.
Quickly use AI and it'll generate whatever you want.
Yeah.
On Violet, we have everything labeled with AI for transparency. So on all the images, there's a star icon. So okay, this was created with Violet AI. And it's very clear even in the chat, there's a live chat with the actual creator. And then you can see like, their AI when you're chatting with their AI.
Is there a world, it certainly seems like we are entering this world where people are okay with talking to an AI version of somebody.
Absolutely. Look at the success of like Replica, Character AI, these other, platforms where people a lot of times are talking to a fictional character.
Yeah.
Or someone made up. And this allows you to be like, oh, wait, this is based off of a real person.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, as much as we all embrace AI and AI tools, nothing takes the place of the human experience.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is like you see this like it's like this idea of world building. So many of these really successful AI companies, and I look at like Character AI, although albeit they didn't have the correct guardrails with like, and they also didn't have the permissions. Like they had like AI Nicki Minaj, but AI Nicki Minaj was building out a world and having all these crazy conversations with folks and getting millions and millions of chats, which kind of proves the point that people know that it's not Nicki Minaj, but they are willing to do it. The problem with Character AI is that they didn't have permission from Nicki Minaj to be doing this. And so my understanding from Violet is that you do have permission. And
we're not doing anything. It's actually the creator, the talent, who is like, oh, they've taken the decision to train their Violet AI chat and they turn it on. They're the ones creating all the images. We're actually not doing anything. We're providing the tools for them. And there's some creators that they don't use the AI tools as frequently. Yeah. Then more so they like the user experience, the subscription tiers. Right. And there's some where like they're just cranking out those images.
Listen, I'm like, and we're gonna play with it like literally right now. But I will say, like, I am really excited about my AI, Lori, because it does feel like enough separation that like I could kind of see how people are interacting with AI Lori, what they're saying. I think that could be really interesting, as long as I have like the quality control and the ability to have to understand, oh, that's not what I would say, or that is what I would say, or train it more and more to kind of be like me. I think it's such an interesting. We are entering this world where I guess like these relationships, the lines between reality are just blurring a bit. And it's interesting to watch what people are attracted to, and also what kind of guardrails and how you build that in a way that's safe for both parties.
I mean, that's where we have, of course, like all of the moderation. There's nothing on the platform we can't see. Like no one can go in and try to make like, AI images that aren't of themselves. There's precautions behind the scenes to prevent that.
Yeah.
We've kind of thought through a lot of these different scenarios, and we'd want to prevent it from, being used by bad actors. And those are a lot of conversations had early on with our CTO, Stefan, who's like in there and making sure like, okay, this is safe. Like no one can upload, an image that would be against our terms of service, or try to upload an image that's not of them.
Right.
And that's where, we've put a lot of these, thanks to AI, you have a lot of pre-check of content. So we see everything's pre-checked before it's published. And that actually is the same with our own AI images too. Wow. So they're even reviewed per our moderation guidelines before that they're published on Violet.
Wow. Okay, so I feel like we should play with Violet.
Let's do it. I feel like we should let's have some fun.
Yes. Okay. All right, so now I'm on. Here we are.
Yay.
The best thing is like it gave me a username. It like suggested it, and I was like, I love this username so much. It's Shadow Avalanche Lore.
Badass. Like, we love it.
Going back to my MySpace days for some reason, I'm like, wow, like some emo Shadow Avalanche Lore. And so that's me on Violet, Shadow Avalanche Lore. I think I might have to change my tagline. You have to help me get like more creator friendly, Amy, because like I think I'm too like in my head.
Yeah, just do like a fun bio.
Mine was curiosity, empathy, and agency.
I think it could be a little cooler. But descriptors are good.
But like, I know, like now that I hear it, I'm like, this is so cringeworthy. Like clearly, this is my first time on here. Okay, so I'm gonna change that. But then I go to. So if I go to...
So you go to
messaging. Okay, start training. So unlock your AI chat for your friends. Okay, so...
then it's going to go into the Violet AI chat. It's going to ask you a few questions.
Nothing would make me happier than to make AI Lori available for people who listen to this so they can hang out with her. Okay, it says, I'm Violet. Nice to meet you. I'm here to help you set up your persona. A profile, and I want to get to know the real you. Can you tell me a bit about yourself, whatever feels important or interesting to share? So any advice on like
I feel like you're a reporter.
I'm
focus on tech.
I'm tech journalist. All right.
Live in New York.
But I probably shouldn't mention I have a pet axolotl and
I think it's
child.
Cool.
And a child? Is that not?
Aren't they both your children?
That's true. It's true. I'm so sorry, Butter. You were first. Butter's my axolotl who lives in New York, runs mostly human media. I have a pet axolotl. Are you dying at how I'm training my AI? Okay. So I'm sitting here kind of training my AI, but I find that it's like asking me kind of to go a little bit more specific and to kind of reveal other things. So how is this different than training than ChatGPT or Claude or some of these other models and how they train?
So this is really meant to actually get to know you in a way that then it can represent you to other people. Which is, again, a personal chat, diving a little bit deeper than, you might elsewhere. But also in a way that's also training on your tone of voice. You can put in emojis you use. And then under settings, you're able to further customize everything.
Cool.
If you're like, oh, I'm very optimistic, so I have that one slid all the way up. Or you can say under tone of voice, you might be more formal, you might be long, you may chat longer, shorter. So we really give a lot of customization options to creators to be able to be like, okay, this is how I chat, or I want to just tweak it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And as you're using it, it just continues to get to know you. That's really it. I put on mine, I added a bunch of emojis that I use when I text my friends.
Cool.
And it feels much more personal.
Okay, so I'm 60% trained. I can come back to training.
Yes,
right?
You can return to your training.
Okay. And then can we look at my AI twin?
Yes, so we can generate an image. So what happens when it's trained is that then it's known, Violet AI knows who you are. It has your digital image stored. Yep. So then you're able to go to create a post and then you're able to generate an AI image.
Wow. Okay, so first of all, let me show you my AI twin. I mean,
she's beautiful.
She's stunning. I feel like I really want to do what my AI twin is doing to take care of herself, to be honest. She's it's just kind of a bit of an elevated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just it's a bit more, it's a little bit fresh.
Me before the wedding. You know, it was me when I had taken care of myself.
You look great now.
Let's not. But so now I go back, and now if I want to create my first post, I go to new post.
Oh yeah, then you can do
generate AI twin image. Okay. Oh wow. Describe your vision. So far, I've done a very poor job of being a creator on here. So
that's where the presets come in. So then you can kind of feel it out. Be like, oh, do I want to be on a rooftop? Do I want to be on a beach?
Yeah, I want to be in the forest. Oh, okay. So it's giving me options. This is great. So it says describe your vision. Tell us what you want to see. So your mood, outfit, anything like that. So I'm going to say in a lush forest. It gives me the options of sexy, classy, edgy, dreamy, dark. Oh, luxurious. Maybe I'll be luxurious in a forest. Does that? Okay. Oh, okay, luxurious outfit. Oh, so I'm not going to put myself in lingerie on this one just because I feel I just feel like all of us aren't there yet.
It'll be for the subscription tier.
That's for the subscription. That's for Charlie's college fund.
There we go.
Let's do glam. This is so fun. Okay. Enhancing my prompt. Okay.
So now you can see it's much more detailed, or if you wanted to add in I want to wear red or...
Okay, elegant and shimmering gown, forest twilight.
Oh, it sounds
golden
stunning.
Light, opulent moss-covered stones, rich velvet fabric, dreamy, romantic. Sign me up. Okay, so now I generate it for 7 credits.
Yes, so
right?
You can go ahead and
Here
generate
we go.
image.
Okay.
Ooh.
It's a little low cut for me, Amy. It's a little, literally, they're not making eye contact with me.
Oh, it's stunning though.
She looks good.
She's in a gown in a forest.
And she has great bra on or whatever's making that work. Sorry. Wait, this is so fun.
Yeah, so you can just keep regenerating it.
Okay, so now what do I do with this?
So you can share it as a post.
Okay, so it says I can start over, create a post. Oh my God, do I want to put this? Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Oh my God. Amy, look at you helping me stretch.
Look.
Like, by the way, it's next to my profile photo with like me in a shirt that's like basically up to my neck and shoulder pads. Just FYI. Okay. But it's not real. So here we go. Next.
That's also another point. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of being a little bit more adventurous than you might be,
Yeah.
than how you may dress every day.
I feel like this one's more the girlfriend experience, kind of. You know, she's not as like,
yeah.
It's like, okay, here we go. Oh, so here's my caption. I'm so bad at this. I literally was going to say like my first time. Like, and I know that's not what I meant. Help me, Amy. You're so much better at this than I am.
A dreamy walk.
Dreamy walk. I can't wait to start like sending these to my husband. John is gonna be like, what are you doing?
That's just another day for him. It's
Dreamy walk. I know. Another day in the office. Out of the office. Nope. Let's not try to be cheeky. All right. And now I can select my tier. Seems as though we should let this out into the wild.
I think, yeah.
I'm not ready for premium yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Dreamy walk. I'm going to go ... Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Here we go.
She's live.
Wow. She is live.
It.
She looks good. That was fun. I have to
You
say
look
that
gorgeous.
was fun.
Yeah.
And I would never put that out on...
It's probably not something you normally wear. It's
That's
kind
right.
of that exciting thing of like, oh, what could I look like in this?
And it's also, to your point, this is not something I would put on Instagram or like, you know, this feels like a little bit different over here, which I kind of like. It's a different vibe.
It's more creative. It just kind of lets you express yourself.
Yeah. You know what I think is so interesting about this? It just feels... it feels different than some things I've seen, because it does feel like we are entering a world where there's AI slop and there's just, you don't know what's real and what's not. And, you know, there's an inevitability of AI on social media, but it feels like things have gotten really crowded and really busy, and we're not sure where the incentives are, and we're not sure what's behind it. So it certainly is interesting to see what could this space open up to. What are new opportunities in the chaos? So
I appreciate that. And it's also just the transparency of knowing, like, is this AI or not?
Yeah.
And ultimately, like, people don't care. They just want to know.
Well, but it is interesting. Like, I guess my question when we started out, even with this podcast, was like, are people going to care if it's AI? Like, are people going to want to interact with, with an AI version of someone? And the answer, I think, is a resounding yes. And I guess the question is, how do you build guardrails around that? And what are the ethical ways to do that? And for you, it sounds like so much of that comes down to consent and transparency.
Absolutely. Consent, transparency, and control for a creator around their image, how they use it. They have full, audience over how do I want to create AI? How do I want to show up digitally? So there's nothing that's not happening. If they don't like the image, then they delete it or they generate a new one.
So give me advice on how I can make money on Violet with how my AI Lori can go to work and make money on Violet.
Well, let's finish training your AI chat. We're gonna populate your profile, and then we'll set up some subscription tiers, and then people can jump onto Violet. They can chat with AI Lori, and they can see some of your content, real or AI, that might not be out there for everyone.
And I guess we also have to change my tagline from curiosity, empathy to agency. Yeah, you'll help me come up with the tagline.
The real life of Lori.
And so, what do you think? Because you have spent so much time in the creator space. What's the next cultural shift that you see coming? I mean,
Violet will be, and really, it's like, there needs to be a refresh in how people are using platforms. And a lot of times that's what, all of these public affairs conversations are leading to. Like, what are people seeing? You look at youth and adult spaces colliding online, which is, what's happening on every major social platform. Whereas we, took youth out of that equation, and we are fully, an adult social media platform. And that's never been in the vernacular before. It's been more like, oh, is it a creator platform? Is it something spicy? What does adult actually mean? And that's, again, going back to like, oh, this is where the HBO of social media analogy comes in, because we find people understand what that means. It's something for the mass market, a broader audience, but with boundaries and guardrails.
Yeah. Why is this work personal to you?
it's kind of exciting to just create something new that hasn't been done, hasn't been out there. I can't say like, oh, this is a space I thought I was going to go back into or something I was like, dreaming up for years and years. But it really happened very organically with my co-founder, Kaylee, and just through our own conversations. And now it's just this true passion of like, wait, there needs to be something different out there. And we're a platform led by women. We stand for something. We're all about transparency, putting all of our users and community first. And we've spent so much time on the foundation of the platform in terms of the safety features. Who are we using for age verification? How are we going to moderate the content? How do we prevent these bad actors from getting in? And there's nothing that we haven't thought about. And that's just not, you don't really hear about that in businesses these days. It's like, oh, how do we make the quick dollar? How do we do this? It's like we actually focused on the infrastructure, the business model. Then we're like, okay, of course we're going to have the monetization features, but going further, like, we can have advertising in the future. We can, do different things and operate in a different way that just platforms haven't done before.
When you say we stand for something, what do you stand for?
We stand for being a safe, inclusive community online, really where anyone can be their authentic self without feeling like the pressures, the trolls, just the anxieties you're getting on other platforms. That's what we don't want. We want someone to come to Violet and be like, oh, this is cool. This is where I can post this, which I don't feel comfortable sharing elsewhere.
So last question, where do you see Violet like 5 years from now? What does the future of this platform look like?
Violet's going to be used by everyone. We see this platform just kind of taking over in terms of being used more internationally. You look at the conversations around social media, and that's where we feel like, again, we are on the forefront of something that, we're thinking in a way that other businesses and platforms aren't thinking, where this is really much more about community, social engagement, and then we're providing the tools for those who want to be able to monetize. So that's where we just see this like really spreading and taking over.
Amazing. Well, you can find both me and Amy on Violet.
Right. I do answer all my messages on there.
And she answers all of her messages if you have any feedback. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So much fun.